I'm not the problem. I don't know why you think that fat people are the problem or that I'm the problem, but we're not the problem. Other people's fat phobia is the problem. Any form of diet or any way of eating that makes you restrict food is not good for you. It's not healthy. It's literally common knowledge now that the BMI testing is wrong and not accurate. Studies have even proven that the people who are in the overweight category, guess what, actually live longer than people in the normal category. So, this video is not bullying, it is educating this person who is not getting it.
Today, I wanted to take a look at Marissa Matthews because back in the day, her content got a little wild. And I really wanted to weigh in on some of the things she had to say because according to Marissa, all she did was exist in a fat body.
Apparently, I need to say this again, but existing in a fat body is not promoting anything.
First, let's read the comment that Marissa is responding to. What you are doing does more harm than good. Promoting body positivity does not make up for the fact that you are promoting an unhealthy lifestyle. Now, how does Marissa choose to respond?
A fat person existing is not promoting obesity. Existing is not promoting.
So according to Marissa, she's just existing. Well, if that were true, we wouldn't be here today. And this argument that Marissa's just existing is a common thread throughout her content.
It's not promoting obesity at all. And it's not promoting unhealthy lifestyles. I'm existing in my body and I'm choosing to love it. And that's not promoting anything bad. I'm not promoting obesity. I'm living my life as a regular human being. For the millionth time, existing as a fat person is not promoting obesity. Loving your body and being confident about your body is also not promoting obesity. So fuck off, bitch.
No, Marissa, you're not just existing. You're making extremely inflammatory content and expecting zero response. Now, because language is funny and some people are weird about changing the meaning of words, I think by some definitions she is promoting obesity, but by the literal term promoting obesity, that is not what she's doing. Marissa is not out here explicitly encouraging people to remain or become fat. She would want you to believe that all she is doing is promoting body positivity. However, it's important to make the distinction between what is body positivity and acceptance at any size versus what people mean when they say somebody is promoting obesity. From what I've found, body positivity is all about loving and accepting yourself regardless of your size and regardless of what you look like. However, what people call promoting obesity isn't just literally somebody coming out there and saying you should be fat. It also refers to the type of behavior that encourages others to either remain at an unhealthy weight or discourages them from pursuing a healthier lifestyle. So what are some things that Marissa says that would fall under the category of promoting obesity? And let's start with her discussion of the BMI. So this is going to be Marissa responding to a commenter that said, "You said you don't overeat, yet your BMI would clearly put you as overweight. Are you in denial?"
See, now when the fat phobes say stuff like this and they reference BMI, which is something that actually, one, was never meant to measure people's health. Two, when it was created, it was only created for white men, not anybody else in the world, just white men. And many doctors have actually proven that it's not an accurate way to measure health.
Okay, so yes, BMI is far from perfect. It was created in the 1800s and based off of only a group of healthy white men. It was not created to be an indicator of health, and it has some sketchy roots in racism and eugenics. And that can definitely create some flaws. The BMI also doesn't account for muscle mass or where you carry your weight, which can both have a huge impact on your actual health. However, the BMI does have some benefits. It's quick, it's cheap, and it's easy. So it has some uses in statistics when we're looking at a large data set. If, for example, we're trying to see whether or not weight and being overweight has any effect on your health. So on a very broad level, the BMI has uses in statistics to measure things like health risk or longevity or trends. And the BMI can be a very helpful tool to extract useful information out of a large data set. However, you have to understand that on an individual level, the BMI may not always be accurate. And that's why we have other tools like waist to hip ratio or your body fat percentage to determine whether or not you fall into this overweight category and whether or not you should be concerned about any excess weight that you're carrying. But bringing it back to Marissa and the topic at hand, the commenter had actually said that you don't overeat, yet your BMI would clearly put you as overweight. Are you in denial? To which I say, I don't know Marissa's weight, I don't know her height, I don't know her BMI, and probably the commenter doesn't know these things either. And yet, we can both see that Marissa is clearly going to be put into the overweight or even obese category because we have other tools like our eyeballs to see that she's carrying an excess amount of fat on her body, regardless of what the BMI says.
And studies have even proven that the people who are in the overweight category, guess what, actually live longer than people in the normal category. So when the fat phobes reference something that's not even accurate, there's like no arguing with them, I swear.
And I just want to point out the inconsistent reasoning with Marissa here. On one hand, she rejects all studies that use the BMI to categorize people, dismissing anything that correlates BMI to health risks, arguing that BMI is an inaccurate measure of health. Therefore, all these studies are bogus. But then she turns around to use this study to say that obese people live longer, and somehow this is okay because it supports her opinion. And this study, which I think I found the article that she's talking about, the way that Marissa presents the information is very misleading. Marissa very simply said that people in the overweight category live longer than people in the normal weight category, but that's not entirely true. People who started in the normal weight category and moved towards the overweight category later in life, never obese, those were the people that were found to live the longest. The study also found that people who started in the overweight category and moved towards the obese category later in life had the highest mortality risk. So acting like it's all fine and dandy to be overweight or even beneficial to be overweight is extremely problematic, especially when we look at the data that shows that people in the overweight category are tending to move towards the obese category earlier and earlier in life when compared to previous generations. But yes, there's just no arguing with us fat phobes. Moving on, Marissa is addressing another commenter who says, it's not a great idea to ignore scientific fact just because of your feelings. And then they reference this article related to heart disease. That specific article no longer exists, or maybe it never did exist, but a very similar one is just talking about risk factors of heart disease, including being overweight and obese. And of course, these categories are defined by the BMI. And so, in all her intelligence, how does Marissa respond?
Are you dumb? It's literally common knowledge now that the BMI testing is wrong and not accurate, and it literally only takes into consideration 2-3 different factors and not everything a million else.
So instead of addressing this very real health risk, Marissa decides to throw out this data, criticizing the BMI for being out of date and flawed. But we don't need the BMI to say that excess fat on your body will pose a real health risk. So when we have studies that show that increased visceral fat alone, regardless of the BMI, will increase your health risk, what is Marissa going to say then?
You're not my doctor!
And that was in response to the comment, you have an extremely higher chance of developing type 2 diabetes, atherosclerosis, and the list goes on, but the comment cuts off. And this is a classic case of Marissa deflecting from the real argument. She can't acknowledge the very real fact that being overweight or obese will increase your risk of developing something like diabetes. No, instead, she decided to take this personally, as if the commenter was saying, you specifically Marissa Matthews, are going to develop these diseases. When in reality, it's more like you, as in you the general public, have a higher risk of developing these diseases if you fall into the overweight or obese category. But rather than actually address these concerns, Marissa chooses just to lash out.
Are you the new health police? Do you read statistics for fun? Because you seem like the type of person who reads statistics for fun, just to comment on other people's videos. Who hurt you?
So in addition to being dismissive, Marissa is also choosing to be very condescending, which is pretty on brand for Marissa. If you come at her with research and citations, she mocks you for being a nerd because that's not cool. However, despite arguing the validity of the BMI and basically dismissing any statistics that are using the BMI categories, Marissa also says that no, she never said that obesity was healthy. When responding to a commenter who said, you're literally trying to make overweight seem healthy instead of actually doing something about it.
Me calling out somebody for being fat phobic is not the same thing as me saying obesity is healthy. They're two completely separate things. Come on, people. And nowhere have I said that obesity is healthy. Nowhere have I said that. I'm advocating for body positivity and accepting yourself.
Or another commenter who said, preaching on a public platform how obesity isn't unhealthy is promoting it though.
Again, please cite me. Cite me. Quote me. Quote me. Where did I say this? Where did I say this? Where did I say it? Quote me. I dare you. I dare you to quote me. You're not going to find it.
And no, nowhere did Marissa explicitly say that being overweight or obese was healthy or unhealthy. But her actions speak louder than words. We just saw how she throws away any sort of statistic or study that uses the categories obese or overweight as defined by the BMI. And yet, when a commenter says, "You deny basic scientific consensus, so expect to be corrected," this is what she has to say.
I don't, though. I literally have videos acknowledging that being fat can possibly cause certain health risks. So no, I'm not denying anything. But I am aware that not every fat person gets these things.
And not every smoker gets lung cancer. I don't think Marissa is understanding what it means to be at an increased risk of something. It's not like she can be the special person that isn't part of the statistic. Every day you're putting yourself at that risk of developing something like these diseases. Every day she's putting herself at risk for developing something like diabetes or like stroke or like joint pain, breathing problems, the list goes on. Just like a smoker is putting themselves at higher risk of lung cancer every day just by smoking. Doesn't mean they're gonna get lung cancer, but why would you want to put yourself at that increased risk? Like, fine, you do what you want to do, but don't lie and say the statistics aren't gonna apply to you. So what does Marissa say when this commenter tries to tell her that being fat is unhealthy?
Can this person go back to school, please? Or go do some research and not be a idiot? Skinny does not equal healthy. Fat does not equal unhealthy. Get your info straight before you hop on the internet and be an idiot.
And I really truly hate this argument that just because not all thin people are healthy, therefore not all obese or overweight people are unhealthy. This really oversimplifies the issue, and it assumes that these two things, thinness and obesity, have a symmetrical relationship when they don't. No one said that all thin people are healthy. That's not the argument. Fat and excess adipose tissue, and I do mean excess here, not just a little bit of chub. Excess fat wreaks havoc on your body. It's not just some benign tissue. For one, it's hormonally active, which alone can cause all sorts of health and fertility problems. Additionally, excess weight on your body alone can cause all sorts of joint problems and pains. But to Marissa, saying something like obesity is unhealthy is equivalent to a person saying that being thin automatically means that you're healthy.
Okay, I just thought of a story that proves that thinness does not equal health.
Literally no one is saying that being thin automatically means you're healthy. But okay, go off.
I honestly don't know why I didn't think of this before either. So I was dating this guy. Don't judge me on the guy. He smoked at least a pack a day, sometimes two, and then was a hardcore stoner. Nothing against stoners. But that relationship had like a lot of issues. He would want me to watch him smoke pot in his garage, just sitting there. But anyway, that's not the point.
Just pausing here because if you don't know, Marissa's from Canada, where weed is legal. And shocker, there's health benefits to weed, although not all people respond positively to it. So I just find it funny that Marissa has this automatic connection between smoking pot and being a bad and unhealthy person. But I digress because that's not the point here.
The point is, I had to ask him to not go to fast food restaurants because that's what he ate every day. Because I didn't want to eat that. I had to ask him to go somewhere else. He also didn't cook. But guess who got tired during sex? It wasn't the fat chick. Nope. It was the skinny, lanky dude who smoked pot and cigarettes and lived off Red Bull.
I don't know, Marissa. Are you jealous? Because you sound kind of jealous. Because to me, it sounds like Marissa's a little bit jealous that this guy could eat fast food and still remain skinny, while Marissa is over here overeating on home-cooked food and remaining overweight. Is that too harsh? I feel like that might be too harsh. Sorry, I just find it hard not to mirror her energy. When she gives off a stanky bitch tone, then it's hard not to sort of react in the same way. And I know it's not productive. I'm trying to be as unbiased and unjudgmental as possible, but she just gets under my skin sometimes, you know? Anyway, it sounds like this kid was eating unhealthily, just like Marissa, only in a different way. So big whoop, skinny person was unhealthy. Still doesn't mean that excess fat on your body is not unhealthy.
Just because someone's fat doesn't mean they're unhealthy. Someone's health is not based on what they look like.
Okay, so the comment had said, love that you're loving yourself, but obesity is a major factor in heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and more, and an unhealthy body should not be idolized. You can love yourself and also acknowledge that excess fat on your body is not healthy. An individual person who is overweight or obese might be healthy, but that doesn't mean that they're not putting themselves at a higher risk for developing these weight-related issues. And saying that health is not dependent on what you look like, I'm sorry, sometimes what you look like can be an indicator of your health. If I come into the doctor jaundice, then they're gonna know right away that something's wrong. What you look like doesn't give you a full picture of health, but it can be an indicator that something is wrong.
Fat people can still be healthy because there are more factors to how people weigh than just what they eat.
That was a bit of a weird sentence, and I think she got sort of out of track because nobody was talking about what she ate. There's more factors to being overweight than just what you eat. Okay, sure, but you're still overweight. So what are you talking about?
And me loving myself in the body that I am is not promoting obesity. You know what it's promoting? Self-love, self-acceptance, not caring or listening to what the majority of society says because they all fucking suck. It's also not placing what I look like on my work.
And again, nobody was saying that you're less worthy because of how you look. The commenter even seemed to agree with the sentiment that you should love yourself no matter what you look like. But Marissa absolutely refuses to acknowledge that not every weight is healthy. To her, even somebody at 600 pounds could be healthy. Because this commenter said, so you're telling me if I'm 600 pounds, I'm a perfectly healthy human being?
So I get this question a lot, and I feel like it's time to address it. I'm not this person's doctor, so I'm not gonna comment on their body or health. Just like you shouldn't be commenting on mine or anybody else's, so get the fuck out and stop being a fucking fat phobic dick. Okay, bye!
Okay, Marissa, calm down. Raising a hypothetical scenario like, if I were 600 pounds, would I be healthy? That's not commenting on some random person's health. That's commenting on a random scenario. But Marissa can't even acknowledge that at a certain point, there's a weight where you just cannot be healthy at. Like I mentioned, fat is not just some benign tissue. And at that weight, you don't have to be a doctor to know that that is going to put an enormous amount of strain on your body, even simply from a mobility standpoint. Think about having to lug around even an extra 100 pounds, or lacking the function to fully bend your knees because your body is in the way. This is not something that just happens or that somebody is doomed to face because they were just born into a larger body. This takes years of overeating. Moving on, I want to look at a comment that is actually quite troubling and insensitive in my opinion. The commenter said that, you'd be happier if you lost weight though. That's a fact that no one can deny, not even you. Now, before we get into how Marissa responds, I just want to give my 2 cents on the matter because I don't agree with this commenter at all. While some people might find that losing weight will improve their happiness or improve their quality of life, it's not a healthy mindset to tie your happiness to your weight, or to think in a way like, if I just lose X amount of weight, then I'll be happy. To me, this is a really damaging mindset, and it doesn't allow for real growth when it comes to happiness as it relates to body image. Happiness isn't something that should be conditional to the number on a scale, and happiness isn't a guarantee even if you reach that magic number that you've set for yourself. And if you have body image issues, then losing weight is not going to fix that. For most people, and especially for women, you'll always have body image issues if you don't fix the root cause, which is in your own head. Yes, your own head, not society, because you can't change society and you can't change what other people think about you, and you can't control what a 14-year-old writes in your comments. With that out of the way, let's see how Marissa responds.
Buddy, I have been in a thin body before, and I can tell you that I like myself now better than I did before.
First off, that's a little bit weird because she's also said that.
Buddy, I've been fat my whole life, and I'm still fat.
So there's that, but either way, she said that she's happier now than she was when she was thin. And I wonder why she thinks that.
Also, the majority of people who recover from an eating disorder are actually happier in their after body than their thin one. So fuck off.
Okay, wow. So I don't know how to make it clear how gross of a comment that is. Okay, remember when I said that it's hard not to mirror Marissa's energy? That's sort of what's happening here between Marissa and this commenter. Commenter comments something super gross, and Marissa responds in an even grosser way. And I don't know if I have the words to fully explain why what Marissa said is so gross. Saying that she likes her body better now and that people recovering from eating disorders are happier in their after body is not what I'd call body positivity. This still ties happiness to body size and body image. And people recovering from an eating disorder are likely happier in their after body because they're recovering from a mental disorder that has made them feel and think that they are less than because of the way they look. Like, that's part of the disorder. Their improved happiness and satisfaction with their body image likely stems from mental recovery, not from how they actually look. Marissa's comment is not only insensitive, but it also perpetuates this idea that your worth and your happiness is tied to how you look. And it all seems very against what body positivity actually promotes.
Just another friendly reminder that if you monitor other people's health, including assuming that I overeat and assuming my eating patterns, when you don't know anything about me, oh my god, guess what that is? Ring-a-ding-ding, fat phobia.
Okay, so the commenter had told Marissa, just eat healthier and exercise every day. You don't have to do a program to get healthy. And somehow Marissa scolded them for assuming that she overeats. But she does get a lot of accusations that she overeats, so I can kind of see where she's going with this one.
Especially when y'all are too fucking stupid to go look at my food videos where I am clearly not overeating. But common sense left the chat, right? Because you're just too dumb to even comprehend that or think of that.
And I just want to say that the food that Marissa tends to post is primarily healthy, home-cooked food with like lots of veggies and stuff like that. But Marissa doesn't overeat. She's made it very clear that she's not trying to lose weight and she does not want to lose weight. And it appears that she's successfully stayed at roughly the same size. So she's eating exactly enough to maintain her size.
Like, take your fat phobic stereotypes and just throw them out the window. Try and become a better person. It'll help you in the long run.
Nah, I don't think I will. And this commenter said that, I'm not hating or something. It's okay to be overweight. But changing your lifestyle and what you eat is not wrong.
But why are you assuming you know what I eat? I literally move my body every day and eat nutritious food. How is that not healthy?
So again, we see Marissa fighting imaginary demons. The commenter said nothing about whether Marissa was eating healthy or exercising. They were just bringing up that for some people, getting onto a healthier diet might be beneficial. But no, Marissa had to project her insecurities and boast about how healthy she eats and how much she moves her body. And talking about having a healthy diet and eating healthy food, to me, that's putting food into good and bad categories, healthy or unhealthy. But according to Marissa, you shouldn't label food as good or bad.
Any form of diet or any way of eating that makes you restrict food is not good for you. It's not healthy. Because when you see food as good and bad, that's not good. Food should be neutral because it's all energy. Because guess what? We need to eat.
I'm sorry, but there are going to be some cases where going on a diet or changing your diet or adding some restriction to your diet is going to be beneficial. If, say, your child was running around all day eating cotton candy and bagels, they might benefit from a little bit of restriction. A little less candy so that they can fit more good, nutritious food into them. And saying that all food should be neutral, but then turning around and saying that she eats healthy feels a bit hypocritical. And it's really hard to argue her logic when it breaks down this easy.
Not all apples are healthy. Like, would you call a caramel apple that you eat at Halloween, would you call that healthy? And not all pizza is unhealthy. You can make pizza with vegetables on it and whole wheat, whatever, bread or whatever, and you can make it pretty healthy. You don't have to have all that cheese on it.
Okay, who said cheese was unhealthy? Can someone please explain this thought process to me, because I'm not getting it. So you take a healthy apple and you dip it into sugary syrup or chocolate and suddenly you have an unhealthy apple? Like, no, you have a healthy apple now coated in empty, unhealthy calories. How is this consistent with her other messaging that food should be neutral? I don't know, maybe I'm misunderstanding what she's saying, because usually Marissa has like a sliver of truth running through what she says, but for this one, I'm just not finding it.
When you're doing a diet that tells you to not eat carbs, like, that's not good. Or when you have a diet that tells you to only eat a certain amount of calories, that's not good, because if you're still hungry, you should eat, because listening to your body is very important. And when you do a diet that restricts food, then you're not listening to your body, which isn't good.
In this modern world of convenience and quick, cheap, highly processed junk food that manipulates your fullness cues, sometimes people lose the ability to listen to their body. And for some, that skill needs to be relearned. And this can be a difficult process where you're going to have to suffer through discomfort. But to Marissa, any discomfort when it comes to hunger is completely unacceptable. And there's no such thing as a healthy diet.
There's no such thing as a healthy diet because diets are not healthy. Any form of restriction of food is not healthy. A balanced diet and healthy eating is not the same as a diet. Again, eating one meal a day is literally an eating disorder. Stop telling me to harm myself just so I can fit in a body that you want. Diets are not good for long-term weight loss. Diets can lead to further food restriction, which can then lead to further eating disorders. And that's not healthy. Skinny teas are not healthy. A lot of them are a bunch of laxatives. That's not healthy to take, man.
To just immediately say that any form of restriction is an eating disorder? Like, Marissa, you're not their doctor. Just because for some people diets can result in disordered eating does not mean that all diets all the time are bad for all people. Sometimes going on a diet is going to be necessary for health, and sometimes changing your diet is going to improve your quality of life. And then she goes on to talk about skinny teas and laxatives to somehow prove her point. Those aren't diets. Those are gimmicks that are extremely dangerous. Like, yes, there's a huge problem with fad diets and magic cures popping up every other week. Looking at you, Dr. Oz. But those bad actors don't mean that every diet is bad. Lots of people will say that they feel better after going on a whole food diet or a ketogenic diet or a gluten-free diet or dairy-free diet. There are so many reasons to want to change your diet, and it's not always bad. But in addition to Marissa saying that all diets are bad, she goes on to say that you basically shouldn't even bother because you're going to be unsuccessful anyway.
What I do choose, though, is to not do something that is going to, one, harm my physical health, and two, harm my mental health, and something that only has a 5% success rate. Why the f*** would I do something that is only 5% successful? Why would I do that? I wouldn't. It's a waste of time, and doing that thing harms me. It's called weight cycling. That's what dieting is.
No, diet is not weight cycling. Poor diet practices like fad diets can result in weight cycling, but that's not the goal here. To tell your audience that obesity isn't bad, it's not even unhealthy to be fat, and that all diets are bad for your mental health and bad for your physical health, and attempting to diet is a lost cause and you shouldn't even bother to try, well, that sounds like promoting obesity to me. Promoting to stay the way that you are and not even try to live a healthier life because you're doomed to fail anyway. And hey, it's not unhealthy to be overweight, but that's just me.
So I choose to conserve my physical health and my mental health because guess what, buddy? I've done the dieting, 15 years of it.
Clearly not very well.
So I can tell you firsthand that I'm not going to do something again that is only 5% successful. So thank you. Now stop discriminating against fat people for existing in a body that you do not approve of.
And moving swiftly on to Marissa's ranting and raving about discrimination. Because again and again, Marissa's main argument when somebody disagrees with her is that they're just being fat phobic, discriminating, or harassing and bullying her, or even being ableist. So let's start with her responding to the comment that walking is free. I am losing weight just walking.
Y'all are so f***ing dumb. Did you not comprehend what I said? Not everyone has time to walk. There are some people who work 3 or 4 or 5 jobs that do not have time to lose weight.
First off, you don't need to walk to lose weight. You can just eat less. That being said, I understand that it's not that simple. Maybe it doesn't take time to eat less, but it does take a mental load. And for some people's schedule, that additional mental load doesn't feel like something that they can take on. And maybe you do literally have the time, but what you don't have is the space to dedicate that mental load to changing a behavior. And I'm not going to get into the potential solutions for that today. That's not what this is about. But this is just to say that if you struggle with losing weight or if you struggle with maintaining a healthy diet and you feel like you don't have the time to do that, that doesn't mean that it's impossible or a lost cause. But Marissa takes things further when she responds to another comment that says, not everyone can walk either.
This comment right walking here is why assuming someone's health or assuming someone owes you thinness by walking, that's why it's ableist. Assuming someone can walk is ableist. Assuming someone can lose weight by walking is ableist. Assuming anything about someone is ableist because you're literally assuming that they're able-bodied. I don't know why this is so hard to comprehend. So yes, 100%, this comment has it right. Assuming someone has the ability to lose weight is ableist. Assuming someone has access to the resources that you need to lose weight is also ableist. And assuming everybody in the entire world needs to be thin or lose weight is also ableist.
So inferring that a disabled person isn't capable of losing weight, is that not also ableist? And now I don't want to dive too deeply into this because this is not really my area of expertise. But for you people out there living with a disability, please let me know your thoughts on this because I would love to get your perspective. Because to me, what she said here feels very icky and I can't really put into words why that is. Maybe because she's almost grouping overweight and obese people in with people with disabilities. Maybe it's because she's suggesting that if you have a disability, then you shouldn't bother with other health risks like obesity. I'm not sure, but what Marissa is saying just feels very wrong. Anyway, in addition to her calling her commenters ableist, she also screams at them that it's harassment and abuse. To which another commenter responds that it's not really abuse though, is it? The only thing abusive here is your lifestyle choices, making your body have to work 10 times harder to function.
Hi there everybody, this video is not bullying, I am just educating this person. So for the millionth fucking time, continued unwanted health advice is abuse and harassment.
It would be one thing if she's talking about like a family member or a friend or a partner who's constantly coming at them with unwanted comments. But we're talking about strangers on the internet here who are commenting on a public platform which Marissa controls the comments on. She can turn the comments off, she can delete a comment, she can even block a user, she could private her account, or she could even stop posting. And I do think that moderating comments is a little bit of a tricky situation because anonymous people on the internet can be ruthless. But if you're posting inflammatory content that is highly controversial, you have to expect backlash. Heck, if you're posting anything at all, you have to be prepared for nasty comments. But let's look at another commenter who said, "You don't even have a good counter argument. I've literally seen so many people die very young from obesity. I don't care about your health, but you." And then the comment cuts off, but how does Marissa choose to respond?
Hi, I don't know how many times I have to repeat myself. Fat people are allowed to exist in peace without being harassed with your unsolicited health advice. So my counter argument is that fat people deserve to exist as people with basic human respect. And that includes not harassing us with unsolicited advice that we never asked for. My counter argument is that I did not ask for your health advice. I have said I don't want health advice on this app many times. Therefore, my counter argument is that you're harassing me.
Okay, there's a bit to unpack there. First off, the statement that fat people deserve to exist with basic human respect. And yes, I think we can all agree on that. And by we, I mean you guys, my audience, because you all seem to be very level-headed, kind people, with like 75% of you being between the ages of 25 and 45. Unfortunately, a lot of Marissa's audience on TikTok are preteens and tweens who like to troll. However, the comment that Marissa's responding to never said that fat people don't deserve respect and dignity. They never said that, but she chose to insert that to make it seem like she had some sort of valid counter-argument. And talking about unsolicited health advice and calling this harassment, which is a little bit weird because, again, the commenter wasn't even talking about her health and wasn't giving her any health advice. They had said that they've seen people die young from obesity. That aside, expecting some random commenter to know Marissa's boundaries and know that she's posted before that she doesn't want health advice is actually a bit insane to me. They're not going to be looking through all your other content. They'll probably only see this one video and comment just on this video. And to call a comment like this harassment really waters down the meaning of harassment, in my opinion.
My counter argument is that you're harassing me. And 2, that I don't care. And 3, that fat people can be healthy and fat at the same time. But your anti-fat bias is too powerful for you to even realize that you have biased stereotypes. You telling me that you've seen a lot of people die young and they're fat? Cool, I don't give two fucks. I never asked. There's my counter argument. Go away.
Okay, so we've been over the whole being fat isn't unhealthy argument, so we won't dwell on that. The other thing that Marissa said is that she never asked for their advice or input, so they can just go away. Imagine this, somebody comes on TikTok smoking a cigarette talking about how good it tastes and how amazing it makes them feel. And then that person gets a comment, something to the effect of, that thing's gonna give you cancer. In Marissa logic, a comment like that would be considered harassment. Like, excuse me, what? You can't go onto a public platform, say something wild and controversial, and then expect nobody to argue with it. And then to call those arguments harassment? And sort of mirroring what I'm saying, another commenter said that it's a public app, so admonishing others for commenting is redundant. If you don't want comments, don't post.
So I'm going to take this comment because a lot of people think that just because apps are public that you can comment whatever the fuck you want. There are guidelines for a reason or community standards. And harassment or being mean and bullying or being an asshole, in my opinion, does not constitute your right to comment whatever the fuck you want. Also, anybody who thinks this or stands by, I can say whatever I want, free speech. No, you clearly do not know what boundaries are. You clearly have never had them. You clearly don't have them for yourself. And you clearly don't respect anybody else.
Again, some random commenter is not going to know Marissa's boundaries. You can't expect a random person on the internet to only comment if they agree with you. Disagreement is not abuse and is not harassment. Marissa is just a wealth of content, posting multiple times a day back at her peak. And this is pretty old news at this point, with her peak being back in 2020, 2021, but I wasn't making content back then. So hi, here I am. And I do have another Marissa video on the way, talking more about body positivity and how I'm not allowed to be in it. So make sure to subscribe if you want to see that. And thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. For now, bye. Burp.